Hi, this is Paul Slack. It's Good News Planet. I'm speaking to Lisa Erspamer. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
I'm great, Paul. How are you?
Okay, good. I'm so excited to get to speak with you. You're an accomplished author. You're an accomplished producer, an executive producer, co-executive producer with Oprah Winfrey Show. You have this series of book, Letter to My, and you have had my dog, a letter to my cat, and now the big follow-up is my mom.
Yes.
A letter to my mom.
It
Congratulations.
is. And I think it's probably the most important, even though, I'm a big animal lover, and writing the letter to my dog was incredibly meaningful. But writing the letter to our moms, and to my mom in particular, really was even more significant. It's our first love.
So tell us about how the book is structured. It's so well done. You have so many wonderful people sharing their letters to their moms, boys and girls, and celebrities, and some people I've never heard of but are so sensitive and loving. So tell us about the book.
So, it's a collection of letters from people from all walks of life, and including celebrities, like you said, and everyday people, and then some kids. And we just tried to put together the best mix and variety of emotions, in this book, so that when people would read it, that they would feel, moved, number one, because we only want to create content that makes people feel something, but also we hope that it would inspire people, to write letters to their moms or somebody in their life. And when it comes to moms, we all, I think some people have perfect relationships and some people have complicated relationships. But what I love about what our contributors did is that people really were very honest and open about their stories in here. And I feel like when people write letters to their moms, you really do learn more about them. And that's how I feel about some of our contributors. People that I've known for for so many years in my career, I really feel like I learned more about them as a result of their letter to their mom. So it was a really awesome experience for us putting this together. We just love it. We love it. We love our book. We really do.
I love my mom.
We love our mom.
There's no doubt about it. And you have quite a few celebrities sharing. Why don't we speak about, why don't you first say something about you and your mom? Because, I also put the text along with this so people will see, 20 household names, or if not more, of people. Yeah. But tell me about you and your mom.
Well, my mom, I was sort of always an independent type person, and I was never really that vulnerable with my mom. And so when we were putting together the book, the big question every day in the office was, are you going to write a letter to your mom, Lisa? And I was like, no, I'm not, because I don't want to be that vulnerable. And but we kept talking about it, and I kept resisting because it just felt like that was too intimate for me to do. And I was also, I think, in a lot of ways, I'm like, gosh, what if my letter sucks in comparison to everybody else's? And I'm the one compiling this book, I'll feel horrible. And then at the end of the day, after I read everybody else's letters and, as we were going through, I felt like, gosh, look at all these people really just, took the risk to be open, famous people and, non-famous people. And I thought, I should just give it a try. And so I did. And I didn't go into it thinking I'm going to make it perfect. I went into it thinking I'm just going to make it honest. And it might sound like it's written by a 5-year-old, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to let it be what it is. And that's what I did. And then I was like, oh shit, now the book's going to come out. And how am I going to deal with my mom reading the letter, right? Because I'm not that, I'm not vulnerable with her. And so right before, the day before it hit the shelves, I took the book to her house and I gave it to her and I said, read it later and call me. And then I left. So I was a real chicken about it. I couldn't, I've had people go around the country and read the letters to their moms in person as a surprise, and I was way too chicken. I just handed it to her, and and like left and let her call me later, and then we talked about it. But it's been really impactful. I know, I'm a total chicken. And here is, I'm like saying to people, please go surprise your mom and let us, capture it on tape. But I couldn't do it. But I still got the same effect. It really did change our relationship, which I thought,
wow.
which is kind of unexpected, but it really did. Like, we are definitely more emotionally connected as a result of, my little letter.
Well, I can appreciate that. I still feel like a 5-year-old. My mom's not with me, and she's with me spiritually. But
yeah.
I don't know what it is. In the 60s here, I've tried to stay like a 5-year-old all those years with my mother.
Yeah, I think as entertainment types, don't necessarily turn into real adults ever.
There's no rush. I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. We're like emotionally delayed.
A letter is powerful. Actually, for many years, I find was the U.S. Postal Service, and we did Letters of Future Generations, whole big project with them. There's something about the written word. Dude, most of these people literally, they wrote a letter, they sent you the letter, they sent the letter to their mom. They wrote, they called it handwriting, I think they call it.
Yeah. Well, whether they typed it or wrote it by hand, they all wrote letters, and they were really expensive. People didn't they didn't phone it in. It's, you know what I mean? People really took it very seriously because I think they all knew, like the ones whose moms are still here. Some people, like Dr. Phil's mom is no longer here, and Susie Orman's mom is no longer here, and Shania Twain's mom is no longer here. But all of them really, wrote those letters as if their mom was able to read them. Which I thought was just, amazing. Amazing that people took that kind of time.
Give us a couple examples. Actually, I've had the good fortune to interview quite a few of the people who are in your book over the years, and I've always been interviewing with our good news perspective here at good things, at good events, at charity events, at environment events, at orphans events, and so on and so forth. Give us a couple examples of some of them that I'm sure you like them all, but share a few with us that you feel that we can all grow from.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about Josh Groban just because I think Josh Groban, I'm a huge fan of Josh Groban, and I've worked with him off and on over the years, and what I think I loved about his letter is that he's funny. Like, Josh is he's funny. He's not only one of the greatest singers of all time, but he is a very funny guy, and he wrote, a very funny and cute letter, and little self-deprecating, which I thought was really fun to see with him. And then I felt Susie Orman's been a really good friend of mine for really, for many, many years. I mean, we're really good friends, and she talked about how her mom, as she got older, stopped telling her she loved her. And it was, because her mom couldn't accept her, being a gay woman. And then Dr. Phil talked a lot about how his mom was the one telling him he could do anything, but that his father wasn't as supportive. And Shania talked about how her parents died, when she was a young woman, and the pain of that loss of her mom in her life, not being there for, when her child was born. There's just so many really powerful stories in here. And then there's one, young man who's not famous. His name is Luis. And he writes about his mom who was dying, for many years. She died actually when he was 13. But he talks about how his mom every night read him the book Love You Forever. And then the night that she was, her final night, if you will, she asked him if he would read it to her. And this kid is 18 now. He works at Target, which I love. And his letter is so beautifully written that, we were all crying, and we called him, and, we've shared it with everybody we know. It's just such a moving, beautiful, beautiful letter. And, I thought it was so interesting that this young man, just for him to share that memory of that time was just really so special. And, then a lot of the moms, who are here, we've actually had their kids surprise them, with their letters, like I said before. And the reaction from the moms is, I will say, like, something we're so proud of, me and my team, because, like the Tenners, for instance, they went and surprised their moms recently. And I'll send you the tape. And it's just so moving because it really proves, like, the power of a letter. It's, we could give our moms, really, or anybody in our life, things, right? We can give people jewelry or flowers or what have you, but that is all stuff that will not be with them forever. But if you give them a letter, that's something everyone saves. Everyone. I mean, I have any letter that's ever been written to me that's of significance. And I think that's what I love about this process and what we really hope it inspires people to do in their own lives. Whether it's a letter to your dad or to your husband or wife or, friend, whatever it is, like, if we can get people to just take a minute to, like, do that here and there in their lives, I think that they will find it to be an incredibly powerful experience. So it has been for us, for sure.
And we never forget those words of pearls of wisdom that our mothers give us. We never. We had Kristen Chenoweth says, "You told me to believe in myself always," and boy, does she do that! And you can see it coming out of her. Our Muriel Hemingway.
Kristen is just pure joy.
Oh God, pretty is as pretty it does. I mean, they're just so powerful comments that people in their later age, this is what they remember and what has maybe helped to build their character and to help them move forward. This is a great book. A Letter to My Mom. And Mother's Day, everyone, is coming up on Sunday.
Yep, almost there.
And so this is perfect treat to share. In fact, you so brilliantly have a page to start off the book where it says A Letter to My Mom. So you can literally write a letter in the book you give to your mom or your grandmom or whoever is loving in your
or
in
even
your
somebody who's in your life who resembles that role.
Oh, that's a nice thought too.
Yeah, if there's somebody, not everybody may have like a mom in their life or who is alive today, but if you have somebody in your life who really has sort of become like a mom to you, I just think it's so special, such a special gift. Even though we made it, we still think it's a really special gift.
And they're very special people to you. There's no doubt
they
about
are.
it.
That's the other thing. Like the people in this book, I really love. Like I really love them. The ones that I've known for a long time, and then the ones that I've gotten to know as a result of them participating. It's just, it's really become just a real passion for us, and it's been a real honor to be really invited into these people's lives, all of them. I mean, including Melissa Rivers. Like she wrote her letter to Joan prior to Joan passing, and she was able to read it to her, which I'm so happy that she did, because it's an unbelievable letter. Melissa's got that same great wit that her mother had, and we love having her in this book. So
she just came out with a book, and they're talking about it yesterday, last couple of days. So
yeah,
and
Melissa's great.
It's a beautiful thing. It's almost a moment of silence to actually think about your mom, to take a moment and think of all the sacrifices.
I know. Well, people talk about that a lot too. That they didn't realize that their moms, that all the jobs their moms had to work to get them. Some of these people who have single moms, what their moms had to do just to give them their life that they had. Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. Moms are pretty incredible.
They sure are. And one other thing, I'm blessed because I have a daughter and I have some grandkids, and so when you have the children and they, as families grow, then they see what it was like to be. Oh, so that's what my mom did.
You're like, that's how that is. Yeah.
So she didn't go away that weekend because I had to. go to a gymnastics class or something.
Oh, right. She had to spend her whole life doing stuff for me. Oh, right. Yeah, I know. It's funny. Anne, who produced the book with me, she was actually pregnant while we were curating, which, was only funny because her emotions were just completely, you know what I mean?
Off the charts. Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. So, we would read a letter, and she would be in a heap. But I do think as we were reading letters, she felt like she was learning how to be a really good mom from reading these, because you see what kids remember and what makes an impact on us that our moms do. And it's not the things that you think. It's not that you took me around the world as a child, or, well, most of us don't have that experience at all. But it's really that it's all the moments that they spent time with you, whether it was having breakfast with you every morning, or sitting with you after school, or being at your baseball games or your dance recitals. That's what was really interesting too. I think for people who have kids, to see that is really, I think, special. So that was a big thing for Anne. We talked about it so much. Gosh, it's funny that you think that it's all the other things, but it's really not. It's the little things. It's the time spent.
There it is.
Together.
Well, this is beautiful. Yeah. Congratulations to you. I can see
thank you.
You get much happiness out of what you're doing. And
I do.
I'm sure.
Honestly,
much
I feel
growth.
so lucky.
Yeah.
I feel very lucky to get to do it.
You're open for the experience. It's a beautiful thing. Let me ask you two last questions, and thank you so much for taking so much time with us.
Oh, please, my pleasure.
One is, what's good news for you?
Good news for me is, really, this may not sound right, but I feel like good news for me is having the opportunity to create stuff that people see and that move people to feel something, whether it makes them laugh or moves them, to happy tears. That's what I love to do, and getting that opportunity is always good news. Meaning if somebody says, we want you to do a show for us, or getting the opportunity to do the books and people seeing the book, I think that's, to me, I find that so rewarding and so kind of unbelievable, that I get to create things that people actually get to experience. I think that I worked with Tom Snyder when I was 20 years old, and he said to me early on, we're the luckiest people in the world because we get to do what we do. We get to do what we really, really love, and I don't take that for granted at all. I think it's, I'm a lucky person to be able to do that every day.
Okay. Well, you feel
okay,
blessed.
And my dog. If I see my little dog, then that's really good news.
You're a blessed person. There's no doubt about it.
I am, for sure.
My last question is, because we're so involved with achieving world peace, which the good news is most of the world is peaceful. What is peace for you?
I think peace is. I think the way to find peace is for people to understand people more, and I think that's why there's we don't have peace, is because people don't really understand others, and I think that communication and learning about other people instead of judging is a positive step toward peace. But I guess peace for me, a more generic peace for me, or a more specific peace for me, is really being in nature. So whether it's by the ocean or hiking in the hills of LA with my dogs, I really find a lot of peace in that. That's when I feel really most clear.
All right.
Right?
I
want to get that.
That's beautiful. Well, I know you have a lot of people to talk to, Lisa. Congratulations. Thank you so much for sharing good news with us.
Thank you.
I look forward to getting together. Take care.
All right, same here. All right, thank you. Bye.
All righty. Bye-bye.